We're tracking Hurricane Zeta, which is rapidly intensifying in the Gulf. The setup is Zeta pushing into the Gulf Coast, then a cold front scooping Zeta northward. They're eventually going to combine, bring snow to parts of New England. In the meantime, lots of gusty wind potential across the southeast, flooding for the Appalachian Mountains and, of course, for the Gulf Coast as well, which is where Hurricane Zeta is expected to arrive by the evening time today. Winds are at 90 miles per hour on Wednesday morning. This is the 8 o'clock in the morning advisory. Rewind back to last night at 2 a.m. This had just regained hurricane status. So we went from a tropical storm with 70 mile per hour winds, now a threat for 100 mile per hour winds by tonight, approaching the Louisiana coastline. Mississippi, even Alabama getting in on some really heavy rain bands from this. The storm continues to move into North Georgia towards the mountains of South and North Carolina, bringing a lot of heavy rain to eastern Tennessee in particular. But we'll be watching for any thunderstorms that develop on the east end of this for us here in South Carolina, because those could contain an isolated tornado. When you're on the east side of a storm, you can't rule out that risk. And then the cold front pushes through and arrives towards Thursday evening, and things start to clear out for the southeast. But let's talk water temperatures. That's going to help sustain Zeta during the rest of its journey towards the coastline. Temperatures are much cooler along the coast, barely supportive for a Category 2 hurricane, but because this storm is moving so fast, it won't have time to bump into those cooler temperatures and weaken much before it makes landfall. Winds could gust easily over 70 miles per hour for cities like Biloxi. As we head into Atlanta, winds still gusting over 40 miles per hour that far inland. And that's a combination of the cold front that I was talking about. The upstate of South Carolina getting the biggest wind gusts across the state. We'll be watching for embedded stronger storms in the Midlands that could produce strong gusts. But even if it doesn't rain in your backyard, we are expecting widespread gusty winds Thursday late morning through the afternoon of over 30 miles per hour. And that's enough to do some damage to trees, which could easily knock out power even if you never see a drop of rain from this storm. And that's the combination of the cold front. So not truly fully tropical by the time it passes through the Midlands. So here are our impacts here in South Carolina. We've got a couple of strong storms with a passing severe chance with it. We're not expecting widespread rain. We're not expecting any widespread flooding, but locally that could be an issue. The breezes will be widespread, most of them happening with fair weather, but if it rains, those winds could be a little bit stronger. And this is mostly for the late morning into the afternoon on Thursday. May remind you a bit of Hurricane Sally, which made landfall also as a Category 2 on September 16th on the border of Alabama and Florida, and then pushed into the Midlands. That storm had a lot of severe weather with it. Zeta is going to be a little bit farther to the west. Of course, we have a cold front, so that's different too. So there's going to be a lot less rain with Zeta, but there is still the potential for severe weather, just like what we saw with Sally. I don't think that the severe weather will be quite as widespread with Sally, where we saw 11 confirmed tornadoes, but all of those were east of the center of circulation. And since we're east of the center of circulation with Zeta, we've got to watch out for that potential, although the models don't bring a lot of it into the area. We do have a lot of humidity in place for Wednesday, a mix of clouds and sun, temperatures near 80 degrees. As we get into Thursday morning, check this out. I mean, we are in the 70s to start off the day. That's about average for the afternoon time. So that's how much tropical air is in place. The winds start to gust at this point. Notice we've got wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, but not a lot of rain on this model. So that's an indication right there that a lot of this is going to be fair weather, even happening during times of sunshine. But with those embedded shower and storms, they could potentially bring a soaking. And as you can see, a majority of the widespread soaking is going to end up well to our west. Still can't rule it out here either, because it just takes that one storm to bring a real soaking for your backyard. As we get into the weekend, things really clear out and cool down too. We're going to go from 60s and 70s in the morning to 60s at best by the afternoon, and maybe a chance for frost for the early part of next week here in the Midlands.